Hey folks, it's Maxie here and welcome to a new TEW2020 video. You join us for a rare pay-per-view, one of our 4 pay-per-views. We are here with AEW Full Gear. This will be my 3rd instalment of Full Gear. It was actually the first pay-per-view that I endured on this save. So we'll go over that, the first attempt at it, the second attempt, and of course this being the 3rd attempt. I want to cover a few things before we start off. I had a comment a few weeks ago, and I never really think about this, but it makes a lot of sense, is obviously how my accent is and how slow or how fast I speak, because I do tend to speak very, very fast, as you've probably noticed, and obviously the captions won't quite articulate what I'm saying. If you want to give me a bit of feedback on if you want me to speak faster, if you want me to speak slower, because I know, to me, this is, me speaking fast is normal. To me, that's just what it's like over here. But I need to appreciate this is an audience that's not just the UK, this is Canada, this is America, this is some places that I would never expect this content to reach. So if it is a little bit too fast for you, let me know and I'll try and slow it down. It was a combination of the comment got me thinking, and then when I was watching wrestling bios like Q&A, and he spoke, fair enough, he's from Northern Ireland, which is not too far from Scotland, but it is still, I can imagine someone from America having problems with his accent. As I say, I'm obviously used to how someone from that country would speak, so to me it's like it's normal. But let me know on that, let me know your feedback and we'll see what we can do. We'll try and get a perfect balance. So I also decided as well, over the course of the event, because I only book the pay-per-views on the series for YouTube, I do the rest obviously offline. I want to just explain my thinking of the prior weeks beforehand, what's led to this feud culminating in this matchup, and I'll also speak before we get into the show, or should I leave it to after? I don't script this, we'll leave it to after it, and I'll kind of give you an idea of what I'm booking in terms of people that aren't quite ready for pay-per-view, but like stuff that I'm working with as a work in progress effectively. Because a lot of people you maybe won't see for like a year, 2 years, thinking are they still employed? When they are, and I'm booking them strongly, they're just a few that hasn't made pay-per-view level. We've had quite a few that have came through the ranks of developmental. Their overness is too high for that, it's too high for Impact, and they're kind of lost in the shuffle here. So we'll see what goes down. On pay-per-view, so we're just on Dish Network, we're on Main Event, we're on Shaw Direct. I didn't realise when I had done my deal with Skybox Office, I guaranteed them a minimum of 12 episodes, and of course I wasn't doing 12 episodes on that, so they're suing the company. We'll probably lose a good few million out of that. But I expect by our next pay-per-view, we'll probably have BT Box Office. But the good thing is, with all these pay-per-view deals, they are 12 show deals. So we should probably be looking at extending the events to probably 18 to 20 per year, which is good in a way, because with the roster I've got I can rotate a lot more. There's a lot more opportunities for tournaments and for content as well. And I'm still on the fence with it. I do kind of want to go with a draft, but kind of don't. So I'll see how things go with that in the upcoming weeks. And of course, if the game still allows it, I'll be turning off the length of the show and we'll be aiming for the AEW 24-hour show as our next event, before of course winter is coming in December. I've got all that out of the way. Legendary band, A-list celebrity, 2 million on the special set, throwing the money at it, chasing a 100 rating. Now this is going to give you an indication of, with any TW save, patience. 94 last year, fantastic. Attendance 65,000, fantastic. First year we done it, we only got 76 of a rating and 34,058 attendance. I just want to look through a few matches. So we had the House of Black taking on Cody Rhodes, Darby Allin, Orange Cassidy and Chuck Taylor. And the Lucha Bros against the Men of the Year with MJF and Paul White. But if we go further afield, the main event was Kenny versus Hangman, and that only gathered a 75 rating. A 74 for Christian Cage, Bryan Danielson and Roderick Strong versus Adam Cole and the Young Bucks, and CM Punk versus Powerhouse Hobbs with a 77. But look at that as well. Britt Baker take on to a 57. Crazy. Moving on to last year, we'll just go to the main event. Obviously, the angle at the top obviously helps. With Hangman defend the World Championship against CM Punk and winning an 87 rated match. You can see the big differences in the roster. Bryan Danielson over Brock Lesnar, Windham over Eddie Kingston, and BB Ford and Tez Ford over Adam Cole and Britt Baker. And in that time she's cheated and now with Sammy Guevara. BB Ford is someone I'm going to start pushing going forward. I've handled her horribly, I'll admit that, that's been one of my flaws. So hopefully we can do good with her. So without further ado, we'll crack on with the show because it's nearly 6 minutes in. We have 26 segments here. There's a few big names not even on the show, which is mental. No CM Punk, no Hangman Adam Page, no Andrade El Idolo, and we'll explain why with a few of them after the show. But tuck yourselves in, get ready, we're on pay-per-view. It's AEW Full Gear 2023 from New York. Let's do it. So we start the show in front of 71,870 in the New Era field. Hype package, Pyro, out first, Maxwell, Jacob, Friedman, as he's going to be in the opening contest against Shawn Michaels. And the purpose of the promo is basically MJF saying that HBK's past it. He got one lucky victory against Eddie Kingston, and then he get embarrassed by Sammy Guevara, which shows he can't hack it anymore. And MJF is simply going to prove that he's better than him, and he knows it. 85 for that one, MJF a real star. And the matchup delivered. Exceptional matchup. MJF defeats Shawn Michaels in 13:29 by pinfall with a Swanton Bomb. 89 is exceptional. I'm always worried with single Shawn Michaels matches because obviously the guy's nearly 60 in game, which means he has poor stamina issues, but 13 minutes, these two went to a really great opener, and an 89 sees MJF show Shawn Michaels can't hack it anymore. Stamina, low morale, declining physical ability. I don't foresee we'll have Shawn around much longer. I think he probably will retire again very quickly. So it's up to us to have some fantasy dream matches while we can. We then have a bit of a beatdown. Shawn Michaels is in the ring, not celebrating his victory, but just in the ring. And out of nowhere, Eddie Kingston, Santana and Ortiz running, beating Michaels down to the mat. So a 77 here. So I'll give you the reason why I'm going with this one. So obviously I was having the Brodie Lee Memorial Tag Team Tournament. Santana and Ortiz done okay, but could have done better. Eddie Kingston says it's time for them to get back their vicious streak. Eddie's been off television for a bit, and then he just come back and says, I had that championship in my hands, I was world champion. This guy was meant to be an idol, a hero of mine, and he took that away from me. It's time we take this career away from him. So the three of them lay the beat down on Shawn Michaels. 77, as I say. Next up, we had a bout in the women's division, a decent matchup. Riho defeats Hikaru Shida in 11:46 with a jumping knee attack. It was her 5th defence of the TBS Championship. Both have been getting pretty good pushes. They were actually both in chilly momentum, so I had to look to try and rectify that. They've had a lot of victories on the Power Hour, the women's branded show, and yeah, just in a case here that Riho picks up the victory. 65, not too bad considering where both were in terms of overness. Debut time though, as after the matchup and she's celebrating, Riho is attacked by Hikaru Shida, but making the save is debutante Dakota Eve, who comes running and chases Shida off, saving Riho from a serious beating. A 66. The reason for Dakota Eve was I don't particularly like the name Evie. I feel like I want to give her a more serious tone. I like to always don't steal the WWE name, try and tweak it a bit. So Dakota Eve was a nice way to mix it up, and she's just, despite how good she has been as a heel, this particular database has her as excellent as a babyface, so let's give her a chance. Debu's a fan favourite gimmick though, which got an initial rating of poor, but she's been fantastic to watch in NXT, and if Shida's got the main roster, Please use her correctly. She is phenomenal. The big dog. We moved on to a rematch for the TNT Championship. It was a good matchup that saw the champion Powerhouse Hobbs defeat Jeff Cobb in 13:02 with a frog splash. Powerhouse Hobbs makes the #1 defence of his AEW TNT title a 79, pretty solid, and the belt will stay with Powerhouse Hobbs. Next up, with a good matchup, we saw Richard Holliday defeat Drew Galloway in 13:39 with a handful of the tights. Just a 74 here. Richard Holliday just keeps saying he's going to be beating all of your favourites. As I said on Twitter, I believe, there was a list of people that were happy to put Richard Holliday over, including Nakamura, which you've saw in previous matches, Prince Devitt, Rey Mysterio, and Drew Galloway was one. Drew had 3 days to go on the promise, so he's done the job here, and Richard Holliday will continue to progress up the ranks. Next up, I decided to opt for a matchup for the IWGP United States Heavyweight title. Obviously, Pac had recently defeated Kyle O'Reilly, so I thought let's give a former New Japan star an opportunity here, as Pac defeats Shinsuke Nakamura in 14:27 with a Black Arrow. Pac makes the 5th defence. He's done some matches in New Japan as well, which has been quite cool. But in 84, I'm thinking with the annoying performances I'm getting from Pac, it's like, build him up. He's going for a run at the top. Get him prepared to run at that level. So 84, pretty stellar stuff. Nakamura's dropped his off on this because obviously the decline in physical ability and the Richard Holliday defeat, but it's still cool to have Nakamura on the roster. I'm a big fan of Nak, so happy to still use him in a good way. And then backstage, MJF bumps into Richard Holliday and he goes, you know, that way he always points his finger. I'm quite impressed with what I see from you. I feel like we both have the same idea of what we're looking to achieve here in AEW. I think together we could be unstoppable. What do you say, bud? Holly just says, it's fine. You watch my back, I'll watch your back. We'll see what happens. But both kind of that way, they're plotting at the same time while they do that. But in 85, we're excited to see if even meshing them with MJF can take Holliday at an even further level forward. Next up, I put the EW tag titles on the line. It was a bout that had good wrestling and decent reaction from the audience. The Young Bucks defeated Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish, aka Red Dragon, in 13:46 when Matt Jackson pinned Bobby Fish with the Meltzer driver. The Young Bucks make the 3rd defence of the AEW World Tag titles. I probably would have got a better rating than the 82 if I'd done it with Kyle O'Reilly and Roderick Strong, the Honour era, but I felt we'll go with Red Dragon. It gives a good opportunity for the Young Bucks to keep getting better. 2 guys will get 89 rated performances. And yeah, it's good to have them back at the top of the tag team division, where they will meet future winners of the Brodie Lee Memorial Tournament. Which, speaking of which, a decent matchup. 10 and Windham defeated the Men of the Year in 11:46 when 10 pinned Scorpio Sky with a pounce, meaning that 10 and Windham win the AEW Brodie Lee Memorial Tag Team Cup. Scorpio was a weak link here. Ethan Page's overness has just went from like mid-40s to like nearly 70 through this tournament. The 10-team round robin has been a roaring success for him. As you know, it was a part of the tournament. It's now concluded with 10 and Windham winning all group matches. Both teams were undefeated going into this, and 10 and Windham pick up the win. Now, just a 68, you're probably looking and saying 10 and Windham doesn't work well as a team. Their timing's all over the place. Now, that when I saw that as a message, I thought, do you know what, that is where we're going to take this story. Their chemistry's off, they're winning, but something doesn't seem quite right. But they are going to challenge for the tag titles against the Young Bucks as they celebrate with the trophy, which gets a 77. Afterwards, time to party. They're greeted to a super kick party as Matt Jackson and Nick Jackson take them down with super kicks and stand tall. 77 rating to set up that match for the 24-hour extravaganza. Next up, with a match in the X Championship picture, cruiserweights if you will, people that need something to do in this mod. Decent matchup, Ricochet defeats Tyler Bate at 11:54 with a 6:30 splash. 7th defence of the 0X Championship. The belt is just to put good matches on and Ricochet's having a blast with it. a 75 overall, Ricochet with an 81 performance. Moving along, we had a bout that had some great wrestling and good heat, as Io Shirai defeated Deonna Purrazzo in 1823 with a cloverleaf, and it was the 13th defence of the Women's World Championship. 77, I feel like that could have been better, with them having great chemistry, which I didn't know about. Nice surprise there. And Deonna with 77 and Io in 87. Your negative here would be both of them being baby faces, so you get that penalty for no heel face divide. So this was kind of like a trial to see if I could elevate Deonna to the top level of the women's division. I'd say she's passed. I think what we'll look to probably do with her is a kind of tantrum angle. She'll get a bit frustrated and then she'll start to go towards going heel. She'll have a good run with Chelsea Green in the tag division, but I feel Deonna's kind of going to break out now on her own. My worry is though we have a very stacked women's heel division, but I think hopefully we can make sure she's there. She just has to worry because obviously you've still got the likes of Mercedes, Charlotte, Bayley Rose even, all on that side, and then there's a lot of up and comers on that way as well. But 77 decent, and hopefully adds more prestige to the women's world title. Can't forget Britt as in the heel side as well. She could have turned babyface, but of course she cheated on Adam Cole, who's missing in action, but he will be back soon. It's not time for the main event, but Mark Henry decides to interview Paul Heyman on Hook's big matchup against Chris Jericho. He's asked some about his game plan, and does he believe if Hook can retire Chris Jericho? Paul Heyman says, basically, I've had prodigies all my life. Look at when Brock Lesnar was around, all the various ones that have made out of ECW and became stars. Hook's no different. Taz entrusted me with him, and I'm going to take this kid to the top. So a 65 for the promo. Matchup itself was decent. Hook defeats Chris Jericho in 11:44 by pinfall. A 65, Jericho off his game. As you all know, Jericho is retiring in game in a month's time, so I felt like, yeah, I'll put Hook over, and that'll be Jericho's farewell. After the match, Jericho tries to get his hands on Hook. He's frustrated, he's lost. His career's over, and Hook runs away and has a chip on the ramp. 64, Paul Heyman helps Hook in this, and yeah, Le Champion is done. And this is going to be really interesting as time and time goes on and more people retire, whether this new guard's going to be good enough to get me that elusive 100 rating. But we continue on with a mixture of new guard and old guard. So we hear from the North Carolina Rich Man's Club, Big Money Matt Hardy and Trevor Lee. Trevor Lee says, you know, like, twos are meant to be rich here, but I haven't been winning, you've been costing me money the whole time, and I'm getting sick of it, Matt. Matt's a bit wary, he's like, what the hell's going on here? And this gathers a 53 segment. This leads to Trevor Lee attacking Matt Hardy, beating him off, before making the save is Jeff Hardy, who hits the twist of fate, and then as he goes to hit the Swanton Bomb, Trevor Lee jumps out the ring and runs away. Jeff saves Matt, meaning Matt Hardy will be turning babyface here. We'll have the Hardys for a small run, but that's Jeff's debut, 54. Handle the changes. Complete success. Perfect. So here's some words from Bryan Danielson. He says he's looking forward to this matchup against Penta. They had a matchup a few weeks on either Dynamite or Rampage, and he just feels like Penta's missing a little bit of something. I don't know if it's been Ray Phoenix been out for a long time that's maybe had that effect on him, that Penta just can't get to that top level. But it feels like, is it possible the return of Ray Phoenix is starting to get to Penta a little bit? But it's a 72 anyway for the promo, and their matchup does okay. It was a good matchup as Bryan Danielson defeats Penta L0M in 1830 with a cattle mutilation. 81, Penta win 65, Bryan win 92, and we're hinting at a potential heel turn for Penta. I think it's around about 50 days before Ray Phoenix is back, so probably just into 2024. If he's not too physically, like a couple of stats are at 0 for his body, so I don't know how badly this spinal injury is going to cost him in game. It might actually ruin his career, but we'll see what we can do. One of many injuries that occurs in indie bookings, so I take the risk when I don't sign any written contracts. I just let them go and handshake and do elsewhere. But yeah, we just lost Jessie Mackay to a 1-year broken neck wrestling for Championship Wrestling from Hollywood. But the positive is, here comes the mega push of Cassie Lee. Sticking with Bryan Danielson though, and I got my cheap 100 rating in. And this was basically Cody coming to the ring. Wasn't on the show tonight, but says, Bryan, it's fantastic. You really are an elite athlete. I want to continue to prove that I'm an elite athlete. And I know I'm better than you, so how about that show that's going to take 24 hours? Why don't we take 1 hour of it? A 1 hour Iron Man match, Bryan Danielson versus Cody Rhodes. Bryan laughs because he knows he can just beat the crap out of Cody Rhodes for 1 full hour. Then get an elaborate entrance for Jon Moxley as we prepare for our Fatal 4-Way main event for the AEW World Championship. Comes through the crowd to Wild Things and the crowd goes mental. It's going to be Jon Moxley who won his matchup against Bryan Danielson beforehand to get here. It's going to be Darby Allin who pinned Kenny Omega. It's going to be Kenny Omega who had already made it into the matchup with a bit of a feud with Sammy Guevara, who of course is your world champion. So overall 79 there. How will the match go? 88. I felt like it could have been better, possibly, but I wanted to see if... I tend to do a lot of single matches. I wanted to go with a 4-way, and yeah, I don't feel that's been hampered too much. If anything, it makes me want to see Kenny versus Sammy one more time. But with an exceptional matchup here, Sammy Guevara defeats Kenny Omega, Jon Moxley and Darby Allin in 25-19 when Sammy Guevara pinned Darby Allin with a 630. Gives the first title defence of the Spanish God, Sammy Guevara. 88 overall, and 86 for Darby Allin, and 94 for Kenny Omega, and 89 for Jon Moxley, and a 90 for Sammy Guevara. And we end the show. The champ celebrates in the ring, and he gives us an 87 to end the show. We might go mid-90s here, I think, with the boosts and the 100 segment we had at the start. Let's have a look. Drum roll, please. And 97. So the show increases their popularity in 25 regions, so everywhere we had pay-per-view apart from the UK and some of the regions that doesn't have it. But yeah, pretty solid. Worst match was the TBS Championship, which is still a work in progress. Everything there, Shota Hook versus Jericho, but everything's showing some good stuff here. A few debuts and a couple of good matches at the end. So very, very happy with that one. Just missing out on that elusive 100 rating, but I do feel like if we'd maybe Sammy versus Kenny, we might have took that to a 100 rating, as in the full show. I don't think I'm ever going to get that 100 rated match. I really don't, but never give up, as John Cena says. So we'll jump back to the main screen while we look and see what is going down. If I'm just trying to think of other things that are happening off stream, so we've had a lot of pushes in the women's division. We're trying to gain some momentum to like some of the tag champs, Anna Jay and Tay Conti. We've had Lee Johnson come up from the development factory. We've had the Acclaimed want to come back up, so they're going to be doing some things. People to look out for in the save are the likes of Daniel Garcia, Griff Garrison, Gazelle Shaw, Jade Cargill. There's a lot that have mentors in this, and their psychology stats going up, so I'm really putting faith in those that are going to have to be able to carry long matches in the future. We've had someone that's left us and joined WWE, and that is Kimberly. She gave birth, she got injured, so I've never really had a chance to use her too much, so I felt like here was a good opportunity to let her go. So you can see here, she signed an extension with Impact. She was then pregnant, she had her maternity leave, she got divorced during that maternity leave with Zachary Wentz, so that was a bit awkward when we signed him. She gave birth. We signed her a good few months later, actually, February. Then she got the torn quad in March, literally 2 weeks after we signed her, wrestling for Impact, of course. So, yeah, she's went back to WWE and she will be performing again as Abby Leif. Just felt like the skill set there could have been a bit better, and we do have a really clustered women's division. But delighted with the 71,000 in attendance. Don't think there's anything there that particularly affects us too much. Month to heel for Doc Gallows. Sonia says Riho's good in the ring. Viewing figures was 1.5 million. And a pay-per-view buy rate of 3.17 in comparison to the 30 point that we get in TV shows. But financially we're fine anyway. We can see our 5 million on that, but it doesn't quite make up to the money we make through our network. But cool, we'll have as many shows as possible. Money's not really an issue now. We've maxed out everything we need to max out. It's firmly attack mode to get that 100 rated episode. Alright, Danhausen's been doing stuff since he debuted in real life. Just been doing stuff with him and Abaddon. Try to get both of them over. That's our injury list at the moment. Luchasaurus back in 4 days. 26 days for Shotzi. 49 for Rey Fenix. 4 months and 2 weeks for Alex Zane. And a year and 1 week for Jessie Mackay. So hopefully Cassie Lee will finally turn heel in that time. But that's it for this episode. Thanks very much for watching. As again, let me know your thoughts on will I speak slower, will I speak faster? It's up to you, let me know. And I'll go ahead and get ready to put a card together for the 24-hour show. Take it easy, and I'll see you all soon. Bye bye.